Hey, it's Mike here with the Studio for Teaching and Learning Innovation, and today I want to talk to you about the new Zoom security settings that IT has implemented to help keep everything safer online this semester. So I'm logged into my Zoom account at cwm.zoom.us and in my profile page. So first thing I want to do to make sure that things are set up the way that I'd like to is I'm going to go to my Meetings tab. So I'll click on Meetings. And now I've got my personal room. So I'm going to set my personal room just to show you what it looks like, and then I'll show you how to schedule another meeting. So I'm going to go to my personal room. It's the third tab over here. And now I'm going to click on Edit. And now you'll notice that I have three different options here under Security. I've got a passcode, I've got a waiting room, and I've got require authentication to join. One of these will need to be checked. You can select more than one, but at least one will need to be checked. Now, a waiting room is going to be convenient if you are having office hours or something like that. But in general, if you're having a class, you probably don't want a waiting room set up. So I'm going to uncheck waiting room for most things. If you want to require authentication to join, I'm going to click on the Require Authentication button. And now you'll notice we have two types of authentication. One is to sign into Zoom, and that means that anybody with a Zoom account will be able to authenticate and join your meeting. The other one is going to be William & Mary accounts only, and this is going to be helpful for faculty members who are teaching classes where they don't want students logging in with their Gmail account, or they don't want students logging in with no account at all. This is especially helpful if you are going to be setting up breakout rooms that are pre-assigned. It will also help if you're giving polls that you'd like for students then, if you'd like to be able to download the CSV files, the Excel files, so that you can see the way students answered on a poll, or take attendance or something like that. So you'll notice when I choose William & Mary accounts only, I get this edit option, and I can click on edit. And here's where if I want to, I can use a wildcard, which is the *.wm.edu. Let me get rid of the wm.edu first. This is going to allow anybody with an email.wm.edu address to log in. Or if there's another address that starts off and has a .wm.edu account. And the other one that I'm going to do is just a regular William & Mary account. So these are faculty members and staff members. And to select both of those, I'm going to say comma to separate between the *.wm.edu and the regular .wm.edu. And I'm just going to type in wm.edu. And I'll say save. And again, this is going to only be really appropriate if you are teaching a class and you know that the only people who are going to be getting into that class Zoom session are William & Mary students who have a William & Mary ID. The other option is going to be a passcode. And let me click on passcode here. And what that's going to do is it's going to let you identify your own password. So this is going to be the password for your room that you can give to people. And if I wanted to do that and I wanted to make it easy for people, I might just choose something easy like Bloom. And now they would go to my room, which is cwm.zoom.us/my/Mike Bloom in my case. And then they'd get a pop-up for the passcode, and they'd have to put in Bloom, right? So that's how you would go ahead and set the passcode. The waiting room is another story, and the require authentication is yet a third thing that you can do. So that's how you'd set up one of the security options. I'm going to go ahead and allow a waiting room right now for me, and that's all I'm going to allow. Because I generally just have meetings with one or two people, and it's okay for me to have a waiting room before they can get in. And that's all there is to it. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to hit save. And I've set my personal room for specific security settings. Now, if I'm creating a new meeting entirely, I'll go to Upcoming Meetings. And I can say schedule a meeting. So I'll click schedule a meeting. And I'll just call it my meeting, and let's say it's at 2 p.m. That's fine. And now I'm going to go here to my security, and I can change it on a room by room basis. So let's say that I'm teaching a class and it's only William and Mary people. I can choose require authentication to join, uncheck a waiting room. And let's say that I don't know. Maybe there are people from outside of William and Mary who are going to want to join. I can just require authentication to join and leave that sign into Zoom for this particular meeting. And that's it. And then I can hit allow participants to join anytime. That's fine. And then I can hit save. And now that's my meeting invite link for this particular meeting. So the last thing that you want to do is click on Settings here on the left-hand side. And now one of the things that you can do in Settings, if you notice I have a waiting room here. So if you notice under Settings, I have a waiting room here, and this is where I can decide what my waiting room looks like. So if I did set a waiting room, what I can do is I can go to Edit My Options or Customize My Waiting Room. So let me edit the options. And here you'll notice who should go into the waiting room. So everyone, users not in my account, or users who are not in my account and not part of the allowed domains. So I'm going to choose here, I'm going to choose users who are not in my account and not part of the allowed domains. And I'm going to add those domains that I talked about before, the *.wm.edu and the wm.edu. Now, anyone at William & Mary will not have to go into a waiting room if I have that set up. And that's all I need to do. So those are 3 things that you can do to make sure that you're ready for teaching this semester with the new security settings. But anyway, the most important thing is, regardless of whatever security setting you choose, make sure that you test it out before the first day of classes. If you've got an old link in an old Blackboard site that you're relying on to teach your classes next week, I suggest that you go and check that to make sure that the security settings are working and that your students can get into the course and get into that first class without any problems.